Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 160 and we have a good one for you today. As you can tell, we are in a little bit of different surroundings. I had to move my computer to the other room, and I have a baby off to the side that is going to play and does not care about Fish Friday. Hopefully when she gets older she cares a little bit more. As long as she's happy going fishing with Daddy, I think I can live with that. But regardless, let's get into this Fish Friday. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is bam. There we go. The yellow perch. Now, the yellow perch, or scientific name Perca flavescens. Again, that's Perca flavescens. It is part of the family Percidae. Percidae is the family of perch. We've talked about them before: walleye, muskellunge, pike, things of that nature. Darters are also part of the Percidae. The yellow perch is native to the northeastern US and most of Canada. Luckily, I actually have a map for us. So you can see right here, this would be a distribution map of the current home range of the yellow perch. So you can see this northeastern United States and southeastern Canada, but it's still fairly prevalent throughout a majority of the two countries. So fairly widespread. This is not a fish that's in trouble, that's endangered or anything like that. This fish is doing very well, and you can hear the baby off to the side. It's been introduced throughout way outside of its native home range. It's been introduced to China and Japan as well for both sport and commercial fishing. So very prevalent fish. You've probably heard about this fish. I wanted to talk about this fish because so often growing up in the southern United States, you will hear people talk about they're going out to catch perch. And usually when they're talking about perch, they're actually going to catch sunfish. A lot of people don't realize that perch is the actual name of a fish. So that's why I wanted to throw this out there. This fish can be found in pretty much everywhere, in large and small lakes, slow-moving rivers, streams, ponds, things like that, but really more found in those slow to no-flow habitats, not really those quick water streams. Now, this fish can get pretty large. It has a max recorded length of 50 centimeters, which is about 20 inches, and max published weight of about 1.9 kilograms, which is about 4.2 pounds. Usually, though, they're around half that size. You can see here, this would be considered a good sized perch, but you can tell that it's not 20 inches or 5 pounds. This one is very close to the average, which would be 19.1 centimeters, which is around 7.5 inches. This one is bigger than that. This one's probably an 11 incher, but they do get larger than that. Some of the characteristics on this fish: it's an elongated but laterally compressed body shape with this subterminal mouth that has a lot of many fine teeth. It does have a bit of an underbite as well, but in terms of coloration, it's pretty variable in color. You'll have these darker backs and these lighter backs, but they almost always have the back coloration moving down the size in 7 to 8 bars, vertical bars. And you can see here, this one has 6, some of them have 10. They also have this split dorsal fin. And of course, usually, as most fish have, the first dorsal fin is a spinous dorsal fin. So, kind of basic in terms of regular fish colorations. Should mention that the pelvic fins usually have some sort of orangish coloration. But the side is usually this yellow color with this pale belly. So very similar colorations, with the back coloration extending down in these bars. Now, this is an ovoviviparous species, meaning that it does lay eggs. That's not necessarily that uncommon, but what's interesting and something that I found out is that they lay their eggs in a gelatinous strand, so one singular long strand, that they lay them over weeds and submerged woody debris. That I was very aware of. What I did find out while doing research for this fish is that that gelatinous strand of eggs is actually unique to North American fishes. Apparently, that's not found elsewhere in the world. You'll have gelatinous blobs of eggs, but not necessarily gelatinous strands of eggs. So I thought that was pretty neat. Not the interesting fact we're going to end the video on, but still an interesting fact. When they are younger, they are eating small insects, smaller vertebrates. But when they get to adult size, they are predominantly piscivorous, meaning they're eating other fish. They can also be cannibalistic, but they're eating a lot of younger fish. But they are also heavily predated on. They're crucial actually for both walleye and largemouth bass populations. When perch are present and walleye or largemouth bass are present, the largemouth bass and walleye really go after these yellow perch. They are heavily predated upon by these upper level predatory fish, those higher niche in the those higher niches in the ecology of the system. But what's interesting is they're actually very important for cormorants. Cormorants are a bird that many people have heard of. They've been called snake birds, mud birds. These birds can be pretty devastating to natural communities, but they are still an important part of the ecosystem. And perch are actually very important for cormorants as well. According to a scientific study done that was published in 2002, it actually quantified the amount of cormorant consumption of adult yellow perch. And a direct quotation from the study said that cormorant consumption of adult yellow perch was similar to angler harvest, but cormorants consumed almost 10 times more age 2 yellow perch, and only cormorants harvested age 1 yellow perch. And cormorants and anglers combined harvested 40% of age 1 and age 2 yellow perch and 25% of the adult yellow perch population. And I really want you to think about that. This is a fish that is very dominant in its native range and has been introduced throughout the countries and other countries as well for sport fishing, which shows that anglers really like to fish for this fish. And if the cormorant is actually having very similar harvesting rates as angler, they can show how dominant this species can become if they are not successfully controlled. They can be very dominant in the system. So when you combine cormorant and angler harvest, and that taking out 25% of the total adult yellow perch population, that's a significant number. And then you add in to the fact that cormorants very selectively go after age 1 and age 2 yellow perch, which are very small yellow perch. That just leads to show that these yellow perch are actually extremely successful, as we are known. But that's only taking two factors into consideration. That's not taking into the fact there are other things in the ecosystem that are predating upon these yellow perch, these baby yellow perch. So they're extremely successful, which to me points to either they are spawning numerous times throughout the year, which it does seem to be fact. I do believe I read somewhere that females spawn about 8 times in a year. But not only are they spawning multiple times, they're actually extremely successful at getting their eggs hatched, and those young are successful at growing up to that age 1 and 2 in their own right. They're not starving to death. They're very successful if they're left to their own devices, but where their population gets knocked down is the predation and harvest by outside factors. Now, for the interesting fact that we're going to end the video on, if you notice, we've posted a couple of pictures of people that caught yellow perch. And I've alluded to the fact that yellow perch are one of the very heavily sought after fish for angling. These fish are very heavily sought after for angling pressure. People love to catch yellow perch. But what I really wanted to go with is, we talked about the mass recorded length being 50 centimeters, 20 inches. And that was 1.9 kilograms, which was 4.2 pounds. That's not the world record. That's the max recorded and max published weight, meaning that's the largest one ever caught. The IGFA record, the International Game Fish Association record, has it at 18 inches, which is 46 centimeters, and 4 pounds 3 ounces, which was 1.9 kilograms. So fairly close on the weight, but a little undersized on the centimeters and inches. But what I really wanted to talk about, with all the times, with as many anglers going after this fish, that fish, the world record fish, was caught in May of 1865 by a gentleman named Dr. C. Abbott. And really think about that, 1865. That means that this fish has had the same world record for 150 years, which is mind-boggling considering how many people are fishing for this fish. You have that many people, you would expect that you would get, eventually that record would be broken. Now, of course, you can go into the harvest pressure and predation pressure causing undersized fish. That's a whole nother topic that we can discuss at a later time. But even with all those pressures being exhibited on a lot of game fish, the world record game fish still consistently gets broken. State records still consistently gets broken. With this being caught in May of 1865, it actually makes the yellow perch the longest standing world record for a freshwater fish in North America. Meaning that fish caught in 1865, of all the freshwater fish in North America, it is the longest standing world record to date, which is a really, really neat fact. I at least am facted. But regardless, thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below. It is by no means expected, but very much appreciated. Regardless, take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. My loved one's over there making noises, so I'm going to go play with her. Have a great day. Peace.